Welcome back to Becoming with Erika, a space where we heal out loud, grow through what tried to break us, and become everything we are meant to be. Today, we're talking about something that sounds simple, but it changes everything once it clicks your why. Because people love to ask, how? How do I stay consistent? How do I stay disciplined? How do I keep going when life punches back? And I get it. We all want that magic method, the perfect routine, the secret strategy. But I think we've been aiming at the wrong target. Maybe the real question isn't how. Maybe the real question is why. There's a quote that followed me for years. If you have a strong enough why, you'll find the how. And every time I hear it, it pokes at something real. Because the truth is, the people who last the longest aren't always the most talented. They aren't always the most confident. They aren't even always the most prepared. They're the ones emotionally connected to their why. So let's talk about it. Why is your why important? Because when your why is weak, your effort gets fragile. And when your why is solid, you can get hit with setbacks, slow seasons, embarrassment, rejection, and still find a way to keep moving. Let's start here. Everybody wants the how. We obsess over the how like it's the whole game. How do I grow my business? How do I get in shape? How do I heal from the past? How do I become confident? How do I post content right away? How do I finally become successful? And then we go hunting. We look for the perfect strategy, the perfect content plan, the perfect niche, the perfect idea, the perfect timing. We tell ourselves, once I know how, then I'll start. But here's the part that nobody says out loud. The how looks easy when everything is going well. The how looks easy when people are cheering. The how looks easy when motivation is high and results are quick. But what about when fear hits? What about when the numbers are low? When you tried and it didn't work? When you feel stupid for starting? When someone rejects you? When you tried and tried and you got nothing? When you're tired of trying to be brave? That's when the how suddenly feels impossible. Because how requires energy. The why creates energy. And just in case you missed that, let me repeat that. The how requires energy, and your why creates energy. When you don't feel like doing it, when you don't feel inspired, when you don't feel confident, you don't need a new hack. You need a deeper why. You need something that reaches into you and pulls you forward when you're feeling when your feelings are begging you to stop. And that leads to the next piece. Your why your why gives meaning to the pain. You can survive almost anyhow when your why is strong enough. Let's make it real. You know those days when you woke up tired and life is already asking things from you and you still have to show up for your goals? That's not a how problem. That's a why problem. You know, when you feel the feeling of pouring your heart into something and it gets 10 views, or nobody claps, or nobody seems to notice. That's not a talent problem. That's a why problem. You know what it feels like to rebuild after failing, to start over when you thought you'd be further by now, to learn something new later in life and feel behind. That's not proof you can't do it. That's proof you're in the middle of your story. Without a strong why, discomfort feels pointless. Without a strong why, rejection feels personal. Without a strong why, failure feels final. But with a strong why, struggle becomes a part of the journey, not a sign to stop, not a sign you're not cut out for it, just a sign you're doing something that requires growth. And if you're listening right now and you're in your hard season, I want you to hear me clearly. The pain you're feeling might not be the problem. It might be the place where your purpose gets tested. Now let's get a little deeper because this part is the one part that's uncomfortable but freeing. A weak why makes people quit early. I'll say that again. A weak why makes people quit early. And I'm not saying that with judgment. I'm saying it as someone who has lived it, someone who is living it, someone who is in their hard season. And it's not the only. There were seasons in my life where I blamed everything outside of me. I blamed the system. I blamed the timing. I blamed other people. I blamed lack of support. I blamed how hard it was. I blamed the weather. And yes, some of those things were real and some of those things were unfair. But when I got honest, I saw something else too. My why wasn't strong enough yet. And sometimes I needed to remind myself why. Because sometimes we could push it to the side and forget why we started, which is why it's always important every morning to come back to your why. Whether you write it down or you memorize it and you recite it, whatever it is to help you remember what your why is, start it every morning. If you're not a morning person, start it every night. But point is, do it every day. I know I like the idea of success more than I was emotionally connected to the reason behind it. And that's a big difference because when you like the idea, you'll work when it's convenient. You'll show up when it feels good. You'll be consistent until you're uncomfortable. And then you'll disappear and call it a break. But when you're emotionally connected to your why, you don't just show up when you feel like it. You show up because it means something. You show up because there's a deeper story pulling you forward. You show up because quitting would cost you more than trying. So here's a question to sit with. Is your goal just something you want? Or is it something you need for the person you're becoming? Because that's where the next shift happens. Your why has to be bigger than your fear. If you're building something, creating something, healing from something, or changing your life in a way fear shows up, that's why your why has to be bigger. Because fear will show up, not maybe, not sometimes, always. Fear of judgment, fear of failing, fear of looking stupid, fear of wasting time, fear of being seen, fear of doing everything right and still not getting the results. Fear is loud. Fear is convincing. Fear will Fear will bring receipts from your past and try to use them as evidence that you shouldn't even try again. So the question becomes, what's louder than that fear? Is it the freedom? Is it healing? Is it providing to yourself that, providing, is it proving to yourself that you can follow through? Is it changing your family's future? Is it becoming the one who breaks the pattern? Is it finally living like you believe you were made for more? When your why is bigger than your fear, fear doesn't disappear. It just stops. It just stops being in charge. And I want to tell you a story. This story made this lesson crystal clear to me. I wrote this episode prior to the story that I'm about to tell. And I was at a water park with my 6-year-old daughter. Just one of those normal days that ends up teaching you something you didn't know you needed. And I share my episodes with my partner, and he gives me feedbacks. And I had told him this story that I'm about to tell you. And he smiled at me and told me, you should use that in your episode. So thank you. Thanks, babe. Here it is. So I was at the water park with my 6-year-old daughter at a birthday party. And a bunch of kids were there it had a bunch of slides everywhere. The red one was the biggest one. It was the huge red slide. From the bottom, it looked exciting, the kind of scary that feels fun when you're watching someone else do it, from the bottom. And my 6-year-old, she decided she was going to go up. So she climbed, step after step, all the way up. And I remember thinking, wow, she's really going to do it. But when she finally got to the top and looked down, everything changed. Because fear feels different when you're standing at the edge of the thing you said you wanted. And isn't that life? From far away, the dreams look exciting. Starting the business sounds exciting. Posting content sounds exciting. Changing your habit sounds exciting. Leaving what's familiar sounds exciting. Moving to another town sounds exciting. Until you're finally up there, looking down, realizing, oh, this is real. People might watch. I might fall. I might fail. I might regret it. My daughter hesitated to the point where she let 2 other kids go before her. And as her fear got bigger, I instantly felt that mom instinct to run up there and rescue her from this feeling, to take away that fear. Maybe to even give her options that it's okay that if you don't feel like going down, it's okay to go down the stairs. Or it's okay if you want me to go with you. All these things as a mother, where I wanted to rescue my child when I saw her scared up on the top by herself, came to me. But instead, I stayed at the bottom. I kept smiling. I kept cheering. I kept showing her with my whole face and my whole energy that I believed in her before she could fully believe in herself. And little by little, I watched something shift. Her fear started shrinking because her why started growing. She looked around and saw other kids laughing at the bottom. She saw that I was ready with my phone in my hand, excited to celebrate her. She saw what was waiting for her on the other side. And finally, she chose it. She pushed herself forward and went down the slide. And I heard her scream, the whole way down. Not panic scream, excitement scream. When she landed at the bottom, she looked at me with the proudest smile and said, "Oh my gosh, that was fun." I still heard a little bit of fear in there, but the excitement was a lot stronger and a lot more exciting, that little bit of fear. And my heart just filled up because I realized something. She's going to be okay in this world. Because she learned a lesson a lot of us adults still struggle with. Fear and excitement can exist at the same time. And she could have focused on how scary it was, but she locked in on how worthy it was. That's the whole game right there. Your dream will scare you. Growth will scare you. Success will scare you. Change will scare you. And you don't need to wait until you have zero fear. You need a why that's strong enough to hold your hand while you do it scared. Because on the other side of fear might be the most fun, fulfilling, life-changing experience you've been asking for. And here's the best part. After she did it once, you know what happened? She wanted to go again and again. I mean, nonstop. This little girl kept going up and down, up and down. And she would pass all the little slides and go straight to the big one. Talk about a proud mommy moment. Because once her brain learns that she can survive this, the how got easier for her. And it can get easier for you too. The process becomes less threatening. The courage becomes more familiar. So if you're standing at the edge of something right now, I want you to remember why you climbed. Remember why you started. Remember why you made that move. Remember who you're doing this for. Remember what changes if you don't quit. And yes, it's scary, but it might also be so good on the other side of the follow through. And that's why some people stop at the first obstacle, while others keep rebuilding no matter how many times life knocks them down. When your why is powerful enough, the how becomes figure outable. Not easy, not perfect, not painless, but possible. And maybe becoming who you're meant to be starts that moment your why becomes stronger than your excuses. Before we close, here's a gentle challenge. Take 5 minutes today and ask yourself, what is my why? Really? Not the surface answer, not the polished answer, the real one. Get real with yourself. What do you want badly enough to stay when it's slow? What matters enough to keep going when nobody's clapping? What kind of person are you refusing to give up on? And if nobody has told you lately, I am so proud of you for continuing to go through what could have broken you. I am so proud of you for facing your fear and still showing up in your life. And thank you for spending time with me on Becoming with Erika. Until next time, keep healing out loud, keep questioning deeply, and keep becoming everything you are meant to be. Thank you and God bless.